My name is Laura, and I'm 33 years old. I work as a web designer now, but I used to be an office worker. These days, I'm a freelancer, taking on contracts instead of working at a company. I do all my work from home. My husband, Jerry, is 6 years younger than me. He works in sales for a company that deals with home appliances, so his job keeps him moving around a lot. Jerry and I are pretty different. I like to work quickly and efficiently using my computer, while he's more steady and patient, even if his sales take longer. Jerry can be a bit clumsy at times, but I find that part of him really sweet. We actually met at a group dating party. I only went because they needed more people, but Jerry was very interested in me right away. He didn't care about the age difference and told me, "I like you, that's why." I wasn't really interested at first, but he kept trying and eventually, I started to like him back. Jerry is a kind person who cares a lot about family. Jerry has a younger sister named Olivia, who is 8 years younger than him. When we first started dating, she was just 15 and in middle school. She was a surprise baby, much younger than her siblings, and is the family's pride and joy. She does really well in school, and her teachers think highly of her. Jerry is always so proud when he talks about her, but there's also something that makes him worry. He's told me many times that his parents want Olivia to go to a prestigious private high school, but money is tight for them. Jerry managed to go to college, and sending Olivia to a private school would put a big strain on their finances. Private schools are expensive, and even though Olivia wants to go, it's a heavy burden for the family. Jerry believes she would understand if they explain the situation to her. Still, his parents really want her to have this chance. They've worked hard in agriculture all their lives and don't want their kids to go through the same struggles they did. That's why they made sure Jerry could go to college. It's tough to go against his parents' wishes, especially since they've sacrificed so much. Because of this, Jerry works part-time on weekends and saves as much money as he can. I sent the money I saved to my parents. I was really surprised when Jerry told me that. Even though he's 6 years younger than me, he seems a lot more mature. Looking back, I think Jerry and his parents were putting a lot of pressure on Olivia, but back then, I thought they were just a good family, caring about her future. 3 years after we started dating, I married Jerry when I was 32. It's been a year since our wedding, and we're still enjoying being newlyweds. We haven't had a single argument, and I get along well with Jerry's family. Our marriage feels stable and happy. Right now, we're focused on our work, so we don't have any kids yet. Even though we're getting older, we still hope to have children someday, and we'll think about it when the time is right. I'm not too worried about it, though. But I do have one concern, and it's about Jerry's close relationship with his sister, Olivia. This fall, Olivia started high school at a well-known private school in the city. Since it's far from the countryside where she used to live, she moved to an apartment close to our house. Jerry's parents asked him to look after her, which I understand. The problem is Olivia is at our house all the time. "Jerry, are you home?" she'd call out, showing up at our door again and again. "I'm nearby, so it's fine," she'd say with a smile, sitting down on the couch and hugging my husband. She was always cheerful, while Jerry looked a bit uncomfortable, though I think he secretly enjoyed it. Watching them, I could see how close they were as siblings, but I couldn't help feeling a little jealous. "Olivia, would you like some tea or juice?" I asked. "Tea," she replied quickly, in a way that felt a bit rude to me. I wanted to tell her that's not how you ask, but I kept those thoughts to myself and said, "I can make it for you this time, but next time you'll have to do it yourself. I'm working from home, and I can't just stop whenever I want." Then I went to make the tea. Olivia can act polite when she wants to, but when it's just the two of us, her attitude changes. "Oh, my friend's calling," Jerry suddenly said, grabbing his phone and leaving the room. As soon as the door closed, Olivia's expression turned cold. "Why did someone like you marry my brother? You're not good enough for him. Did you blackmail him or something?" I kept my calm and replied with a playful smile, "Well, maybe I know some big secret about your brother, and that's why I did it." "Huh. What nonsense," she said, clearly annoyed. "I'm not scared of you. It's so annoying to be treated like a kid. If you were younger and cuter, it would be better." "You're way too old for me to talk to," Olivia said, with a smug look on her face. "Well, I guess I do seem old to a high school student like you," I replied, trying to stay calm. But you're older than my brother, she continued. You should be earning more and supporting him. Working from home probably pays the same as a part-time job at a convenience store. I could make that much too. I was shocked that Olivia would say something like that. She's still so young and has no idea. Actually, I make more than that, I said. Really? I don't believe it. There's no way you earn much. Jerry must be paying most of the bills, right? You should be thankful for his good income, she said, crossing her arms. I was stunned. She didn't believe me at all, and I didn't know how to explain it. I just stood there, not saying anything, feeling frustrated.
See?
You can't even argue back, she said with a smirk. And don't think I'm going to stay quiet about this. It was clear that Olivia just wanted to pick a fight. I decided it was easier to stay quiet and let her complain. Suddenly, I realized Jerry's phone call had ended. I could hear his footsteps coming back toward the living room. As soon as he entered, Olivia's face lit up and she smiled sweetly. Jerry, was your call okay? She asked, her tone completely different. Yeah, it was just a quick confirmation, he said, sitting down on the sofa. That's good. Drink your tea before it gets cold, I said, handing him the cup. Thanks, he replied. The way Olivia switched from being cold to sweet as soon as Jerry showed up was almost shocking. It felt like she was a completely different person when he was around. Being alone with Olivia was definitely not easy, but when she only acted out with me, I decided to just see it as childish jealousy. I didn't want to cause any problems between Jerry and me, so I never told him how she really acted. As a result, Olivia grew bolder, knowing I wouldn't fight back. Hey, what's for dinner tonight? She asked, leaning over the kitchen counter. Stew, I answered, keeping my tone light. Okay, she said, giving a little shrug. Olivia came over again today, but this time something unexpected happened. While Jerry was in the bathroom, she came up next to me as I was making dinner and looked over my shoulder. I felt the tension rise between us, but I tried to ignore it. Then suddenly she did something I never saw coming. Oops, my hand slipped, she said with a fake smile, and before I could react, she grabbed the pot and dumped it into the sink with a loud crash. I stood there, stunned, as the sound of the pot hitting the sink echoed in the kitchen. The stew I'd worked hard on was ruined, and I didn't know what to say. The stew I had carefully made was now splattered all over the sink. I quickly turned off the stove, feeling a mix of shock and frustration. Meanwhile, Olivia just stood there with a smirk on her face. Are you okay? I heard a loud noise, Jerry said, rushing in from the living room. Sorry, I accidentally dropped the pot because she startled me, Olivia said smoothly, lying without missing a beat. Laura, are you okay? Did you get burned? Jerry asked, looking worried. Yes, I'm fine, I said, not wanting to make a scene. I was overwhelmed by how easily Olivia twisted the situation. I didn't tell Jerry the truth right then. Up until now, her actions were just words, but what she did was dangerous. If things had gone wrong, I could have been seriously burned. I knew I couldn't ignore this anymore. After Olivia left, I told Jerry everything that had happened. Really? Did Olivia actually throw the pot on purpose? Jerry asked, shocked. Yes. Before, she would just say mean things, but this time she crossed a line, I said. I'm really sorry. I didn't realize she could do something like that. It's partly my fault for not paying attention, and she can be very sneaky, Jerry said, clearly upset. I'll have a serious talk with her. I worried that telling Jerry might strain his relationship with his sister, but I knew I couldn't keep quiet any longer. The next day, Jerry called Olivia and gave her a warning. That evening, she came to our house to apologize. I'm truly sorry, she said, looking down. It's okay as long as you understand, but please don't do anything dangerous again, I said firmly. Olivia seemed sincere, and I decided to forgive her. I thought the issue was behind us, but I had no idea what would happen next. A few weeks later, Jerry and I were planning a trip for the upcoming 5-day weekend. One evening, while I was chatting with Jerry about the details, Olivia interrupted. Jerry, are you planning to go on a trip? She asked. Yes, we're going away for the long weekend, Jerry replied. A trip? I want to go too, Olivia said, surprising me. This was supposed to be a trip for just the two of us. Sensing my discomfort, Jerry gently explained. This trip is to celebrate our wedding anniversary, so it's only for us. That's not fair. I want to come too, Olivia protested. Sorry, Olivia, Jerry said patiently. We'll plan a family trip another time. For now, why don't you go back home and spend the weekend with Mom? We won't be around if something happens, and I'd be worried. Olivia didn't look happy, but after Jerry asked her several times, she finally agreed. We went on our trip, and it turned out to be a wonderful getaway. For the first time in a while, Jerry and I had time just for each other. We visited tourist spots, bought souvenirs, and tried delicious food. We even picked up some treats for Olivia, hoping it would help her attitude change. But on our way back home, something unexpected happened. We got into a taxi at the station after our trip, and when Jerry went to pay with his credit card, the driver frowned. Strange, your credit card seems to be rejected, he said. That's odd, Jerry replied, looking confused. Mom, is the card not working? If so, I'll just pay in cash. I'll go get some cash from the house. Could you please wait a moment? I'm really sorry, I said to the driver, who was still trying to process Jerry's card. It seemed the card reader wasn't working, and since we didn't have much cash left after our trip, I decided to run home to get some money. As soon as I opened the front door, something felt off. Nothing seemed out of place, but there was a strange feeling in the air. Pushing aside my unease, I headed to the living room. Everything looked normal when I carefully opened the door. Olivia, are you home? I called out. Yes, I'm here, came a reply from our bedroom. I was confused. Olivia was supposed to be at her parents' house. Feeling worried, I hurried to the bedroom. Olivia, what are you doing in here? This is our bedroom, I said, but something was very wrong. The room wasn't just clean, it was nearly empty. The dresser and desk were gone, and a lot of other things were missing. My pillows and cushions weren't there. I opened the closet, and all of my clothes were gone, along with my accessories, little keepsakes, and even my graduation album. My things had vanished. I turned to Olivia, feeling a growing sense of panic. Hey, it looks like only my things are missing. What happened? I asked. Olivia laughed loudly, her tone mocking. Oh, you noticed? All your stuff was like trash, so I threw it away. Why would you do that? I asked, shocked. I just don't like you, she said coldly. That apology I gave was just for show. It was for my brother's sake, not yours. I told him that I'm still really angry. It drives me crazy that he spends his money feeding you and taking you on trips. So I decided to kick you out. You're just a low-income home worker. You don't belong here. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Olivia was shouting now, her anger spilling out. I had finally had enough.
Fine.
If that's how you feel, I'll leave, I said, struggling to keep my voice calm. But don't regret this. Ha. I won't regret anything. Just get out, she snapped. Oh, and I left your work bag and computer. If I threw those away, it would affect your job, not just you. They're in the living room. Take them and go. I went to the living room, grabbed my work tools, and headed back to the taxi. By chance, I ran into Jerry in the elevator. The card finally worked, but you took so long. Is something wrong? He asked, puzzled. Just ask Olivia, I said quietly, my voice shaking. I answered calmly, even though Jerry looked shocked. I held my anger back and quietly left the apartment. I went straight to a hotel and booked a room for the night. Jerry called me several times while I was on my way, but I waited until I was settled in my room before calling him back. Laura, I'm so sorry, Jerry said as soon as he picked up. Olivia has gone home now. I had no idea things would turn out like this. I think she got upset because I told you the truth. What do we do now? Should we report this to the police since so many of your things were thrown away? The police? I asked, a little surprised. No, I'm not going to do that. Even though I'm shocked about losing my keepsakes, things can be replaced. If we go to the police, they'll probably just see it as a family problem. I'm more worried about Olivia and her future. Can you help? Of course, Jerry said, sounding determined. I don't want her to keep acting like this. Tell me what we need to do. With his encouragement, we decided to make a solid plan to address Olivia's behavior. We agreed to be firm with her, letting her experience the real consequences of what she had done. Olivia needed to understand that acting out against an adult in her 40s wouldn't be taken lightly. 3 months went by after I left home. I was staying peacefully at my parents' house, and although I missed Jerry, we saw each other on weekends and stayed in touch, so things were okay. I started getting used to my new life, and, to my surprise, I found it quite pleasant. I enjoyed my mom's homemade meals and felt relieved to have a break from household chores. However, during those 3 months, Olivia had visited Jerry several times. From what Jerry told me, she seemed happy, thinking that we might divorce. I could imagine how smug she must have felt, assuming she had won. But life isn't that simple. One evening, after work, I was helping my mom prepare dinner when Jerry suddenly called. "Did she show up?" I asked. "Yeah," Jerry replied. "She's pretty panicked." It seemed Olivia had finally realized things weren't going the way she expected and was now desperate for Jerry's help. I had seen this coming and, without hesitation, put down the kitchen utensils. "I'm coming home," I told Jerry. When I arrived back at the house, the familiar atmosphere soothed me. I took off my shoes and walked toward the living room. Everything seemed calm, almost normal. "Laura, you're back," Jerry said, greeting me as I walked in. But as soon as I stepped inside, I saw Olivia. She was crouched on the floor, staring up at me with narrowed eyes full of anger and confusion. "Why are you here?" she said sharply. "I told you to leave." "I don't have time to deal with you right now," Olivia said, her tone sharp. I took a deep breath, keeping my calm, and replied quietly, "I heard you might get expelled because of unpaid tuition. Is that true?" "Shut up. This has nothing to do with you," Olivia snapped. "My brother was paying for it, but suddenly the payment stopped, and he won't tell me why. What's going on?" She raised her voice, clearly upset. Jerry stepped in and said, "I was waiting for Laura to come back before explaining everything." "What do you mean?" Olivia demanded, confused. I looked at her and spoke softly. "Actually, I'm the one who's been paying your tuition." Olivia's eyes widened in shock. The tuition for her private high school is about $80,000 for 4 years. By the time she reached her 3rd year, I had already paid $40,000. If I don't pay for the next year, she'll have to leave the school. Jerry and your parents can't afford those payments, which is why I decided to handle it myself. Olivia stared at me, speechless. "How could you pay so much? You just work from home," she finally said, her voice shaking. "I may work from home, but my job is the same as when I was an office worker. In fact, I've taken on extra work, so my income has gone up," I explained. "Then why did you keep this a secret?" she asked, tears filling her eyes. "I didn't want to cause problems between you and Jerry. I was willing to put up with a few harsh words for that. But when you threw away my things, that was crossing the line," I said calmly. "That's a lie. No one told me you were paying," Olivia shouted, looking desperate. "You don't have to believe me," I said. "But the truth is, if I stop paying, you won't be able to finish high school." "No. I don't want to drop out," Olivia cried, breaking down in tears. "Then you need to apologize for what you've done," I said firmly. "Why should I?" she said, still defiant. "Olivia, your behavior has been wrong," Jerry said, stepping in. "You have the freedom to go to a good high school in the city because of Laura. If you keep acting this way, you really might have to leave school." Olivia hesitated, her face twisted with emotion. "Laura, I'm sorry," she said softly, barely above a whisper. "What was that?" "I couldn't hear you," I said, not letting her off the hook. "I'm sorry. I've thought about my behavior. Please let me stay in school," she pleaded, kneeling and crying. "Are you truly sorry?" I asked, watching her closely. "Yes, I've thought about everything. I wouldn't be apologizing if I didn't mean it," she said, still in tears. But I didn't sense any real remorse from her. "All right," I said slowly. "Then from now on, you'll take over all the housework." "What?" she gasped. "Since you threw away my belongings, you need to make up for it. You'll help with the daily chores and take responsibility," I said firmly. "Why should I have to do that?" she protested. "If you don't like it, that's fine," I replied calmly. "But in that case, I won't be able to pay your tuition anymore, including the cost of the school trip," I said firmly.
Huh? No.
I can't miss the school trip. That would be awful, Olivia exclaimed, looking panicked. Then you'll need to do the housework every day for a year, as I said. If you don't agree, I might have to report what you did to the police, I replied calmly. The police? Are you serious? Olivia's voice shook. You haven't shown any real regret. I don't see another way, I said, holding my ground. Okay, I understand. Please don't go to the police, she said, her face going pale and drained of energy. It seemed that my firm stance had an effect, and she finally seemed to be taking it seriously. After that, Olivia did exactly as I asked and handled the household chores daily. She learned to clean, do laundry, and cook, getting better at each task as time went on. It was clear that her hard work was paying off, her skills improved, and she started to take pride in them. Eventually, she found joy in cooking and even began to experiment with recipes. Some of her dishes turned out so well that she started inviting family and friends over to share them. From that point on, Olivia's attitude toward me changed. Jerry also helped guide her, keeping a close eye on her behavior. For a full year, she managed the housework, and little by little I noticed a positive shift in her personality. She began to say thank you for small things, and her attitude softened. The hardness in her seemed to slowly fade away. In her final year of high school, Olivia worked hard on her entrance exams and was accepted into a university. She came to me, her face full of joy, and said, "Thanks to your help, I was able to finish high school. I'm truly grateful. You did a great job." "Congratulations," I replied, truly happy for her. I genuinely wanted to support her as she moved on to the next stage of her life. Olivia had become an important part of our family, and we both agreed to leave the past behind and start fresh. One day, she came to me with a surprising request. "I want to handle my university fees on my own using a scholarship," she said quietly. I couldn't hide my surprise. "Are you sure? Do you really want to do that?" I asked. "Yes, I want to manage everything on my own," she answered confidently. "Olivia," I said, deeply moved by her decision. It was clear she was growing up, becoming more independent, and my heart swelled with pride. Jerry was also touched by how much she had matured. "If you ever need help, don't hesitate to ask," he told her warmly. I spoke gently, and she looked at me with gratitude. "Yes, thank you so much," she said. After that, Olivia started her university life. She was busy but happy, managing her studies, part-time jobs, and club activities. She worked hard and passed all her courses each year. By her final year, she was focused on writing her thesis. In the end, she got a job at the place she had always wanted to work. Olivia is now a fully independent adult, and we have no worries about her future. Meanwhile, Jerry and I welcomed a child a few years ago who is now 6 years old. The three of us are living happily together, and Olivia often visits to play with our son. At first, I wasn't sure how things would go, but I'm truly thankful that Olivia has changed and become closer to our family. We look forward to keeping our family's strong and warm bonds for years to come.